I wanted to I gotta change my title for this YouTube. I wanted to write what we would be without him, but I didn't write that. I accidentally wrote what we will be with him, which is still awesome. It's still an awesome thing to think about, because to imagine our lives without him is one that I don't even want to think about. So maybe he had me do that on purpose. What will we be with him? Somebody tell me, what have we become so far with him? The creator of the heavens and the earth.
Tove. That's what I would say.
Did you say, Dr. Red?
We're Tove with him.
That's right. You said one word, one Hebrew word. We're Tov. And what is Tov?
Functional.
Yeah. That's what we will be. That's what we will be when we're with him. When we have the instructions and we listen carefully to his words and we're not listening to anybody else, that's what we're going to become. This morning I woke up in my study and I wrote, I don't know if you can see my screen or you can't see it. This is horrible. Anyway, I wrote out, okay, forget it. Oh, it's not doing it. Okay. I wrote out 2 pages of the names of the descendants that went into Israel. Somebody tell me how many people went into Israel.
70.
Yeah, they said 70, but 4 of those individuals were was 3, 1, 2, 3.
67.
66. It says 66 people. And that's not including the wives. Okay. That's not including their wives, but it does. And to be honest with you, I don't know if it's, it does. It includes their little ones. Do you guys know how many, who out of all the sons of Israel, who had the most sons? Out of
Yehuda?
Nope. When they went into Mizraim, they went down with 66 people. Okay. Remember I told you that the text wasn't being honest when it called Benjamin a little boy. Well, if he's a little boy, we'd have to explain why in chapter number, I think it's 47. I think it is 47. Chapter number 47, where they're in verse number 21. Does somebody have that? I think I'll pull it up right for us right quick. Let me pull it up so I can show you something. All right, let me see, 47. You see my screen? Put your device on mute. Thank you. All right. 47. 47 and 48. No, what chapter is that? Forgive me, you guys. I thought it was in 47. 46. Oh, yeah, it's in 46. Excuse me. Okay. Chapter 46, verse number 21. Okay, so this is chapter number 47 is talking about Israel when he went on his journey. Let's just begin there. That's be a great place to start. All right, so chapter number 44 is dealing with Yehuda and his plea and his confession. Chapter number 47 is when Joseph reveals himself to his brothers. Chapter number 46 is dealing with how Yisrael is moving on towards Mitzrayim. Okay. And so it says here that Yisrael took his everything he owned with him on his journey, even though they were instructed by Paro to tell them, leave everything that you have, because everything that's in Mitzrayim is good. So don't worry about bringing any of your stuff. Just everything we have here is good. But we see here that Yisrael, he did not leave anything that he got or that he obtained while he was in land of Canaan. But it says that he took everything he owned with him on his journey, and he arrived in Beersheba. And the place of Beersheba is the place of what? Rivka, you know this. Beersheba is the well of seven. Okay. And the well of seven is the well of an oath. Okay. So he's going back on his journey, and he stops off. He does a pit stop where he first had some altars made for the Most High. And there he offered sacrifices to Elohim of his father Yitzchak. Okay. In a vision at night, Elohim called to Yisrael. I want you to pay very careful attention to this, what he said to him. What did he say? He said, Yaakov, Yaakov. Why should this raise some questions for us? Why should this raise some eyebrows? Just take a guess. Has something to do with this right here, with his name Israel. Why does he call him Yaakov when he's telling him no longer you're going to be called Yaakov? Why is he calling him Yaakov? Somebody take a guess. Why is it the Creator calling him Yaakov when the Most High himself said, you shall no longer be called Yaakov, but I will call you by the name of Yisrael? What does Yaakov mean?
Because.
His name means because. Okay. So because means that he's always on the heel of something. Okay. That's what it is. Like when you make a statement, you would say da 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 da, and you say because such and such and such. So it's really explaining something. He mentions his name of Yaakov, Yaakov, because he's making reference to the man of him. Okay. He's making reference to the one who's been living in fear. I need you to remember this. This is the name that goes along with fear. This is the name that goes along with I'm troubled. This is the name that goes along with sorrow. This is the name that goes along with all that. So anytime you hear him, the Most High making the reference of Yaakov, he's talking about the man. He's talking about the one who's troubled, the one who's always fearful. Okay. And how can I prove this? Is this something I'm making up? No, because when you look at the name of Yisrael, what does the word Yisrael mean? El turns him. He turns his head towards him, and he's actually one who has prevailed. That means he's overcome his adversity. That means he's overcome some things. Okay. So here's something here that he doesn't call him by that name. He calls him Yaakov, Yaakov, because he's in fear. And also, too, he's been dwelling in what? What has he been feeling for the last 22 years? He's been dealing with grief, and he's been dealing with sorrow. And he tells Pharaoh that he's been dealing with evil all his life. Okay. Listen to this. And he said, and this is what the Most High said to him, because he said, here I am. I mean, I'm at your service. I'm available. Here I am. And he said, I am Elohim. I am, and here in the Hebrew, it says, I am the Elohim. Not just a Elohim. I am the Elohim. I'm the Elohim of your fathers. Okay. Don't be afraid. Every time he mentions Yaakov's name, he's talking about the fear that he has. He's always afraid. He's afraid to go down to Mitzrayim. Somebody tell me why. Why is he afraid to go to Mitzrayim? What is he afraid of?
Is it Pharaoh, Paro?
Well, yeah, it's something new, but why is he? The understanding here is that what he's afraid of something, okay? And the thing that he's afraid of is losing, okay? And I would say losing something, okay? So he's been losing a lot, everyone, okay? So he lost his son, Yosef is taken from him. He lost his wife. His daughter lost her virginity. His sons have lost respect for him. This whole thing between Israel and his sons is that they literally don't have any respect. And this is what has to been found out during this time of 22 years. The whole entire household has been flipped upside down. This man is literally at his end. Okay, that's why Pharaoh asked him, how old are you? And I think he said he's like 130 years old. And he says, my ancestors have lived way longer than this. I just had a few numbers, a few days, not like them, but a few. He calls 130 a few, right? But he says he's afraid to go down there because what he's afraid of, everyone, is he's afraid of losing the promise. Remember, he was told to stay in the land where he was at. Remember, he was told not to be afraid of the people surrounding him. He was told him in our Torah portions for the last couple of weeks, why Yeshev, and he was dwelling in this land. So Yah has instructed him to stay there. Now, Joseph asked for him to come. So now he's afraid, like, oh, if I leave, then I'm going to lose the promise. I'm going to lose it. And this is how we know. The Most High told him, don't be afraid to go down to Mitzrayim, but it is there that I will make you, Yaakov, into a Gadol nation. I'm going to make you into a great nation. Okay. Not only will I go down with you to Mitzrayim, but I also will bring you back here again after Yosef has closed your eyes. So after your death, I'm going to have them bring you back. So he was reassuring him that I'm going to bring you back to the promise. This is what Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov have been about the whole time, because that's the only thing that the Creator's ever promised them. So now he's telling him to take a detour. So I need you to take a detour here. And he knew what was in Egypt. His father's already told him about his great grandmother or grandmother, Sarai, being abducted there. He knows about that story. He knows how his father was treated, right? His father, Abraham. He understood that. He understands that these people are killers. He also understands, okay, that this is a place that's full of idolatry, okay, full of idols. So he doesn't want to go back there. He's uncomfortable with it. But we can see from this that the Most High is directing his path, okay, because the Most High is literally shepherding him. He's shepherding his whole entire family. Not only, verse number 4, will I go down with you, but I'm going to bring you back here, back to this land. So Yaakov left Beersheba. The sons of Israel brought Yaakov, their father, and their little ones and their wives and wagons Pharaoh had sent to carry them. Okay. They took their cattle, their possessions, which they had acquired in the land of Canaan, and arrived in Mitzrayim, irregardless to what Pharaoh had said. You can leave all your stuff. Don't worry about it. Everything here is good. Yaakov and all his descendants went with him, his sons, his grandsons, his daughters, his granddaughters, and all his descendants he brought with him into Mitzrayim. Okay. These are the names of Israel's children who came into Mitzrayim. And it's going to go on to tell us about all these different names. Okay. When I was a Christian and I was faced with having to read something like this, I wouldn't even read all the names. It's like, yeah, okay. Well, let me just get to the point. Let me get over it. Okay. But I felt led this morning to go ahead and to research every last one of these names. That's what I was trying to show you in my book that I have here. I wrote down every last one of those names by hand, and I wrote down every last one of their meanings. Now, I'm not going to go over 66 different meanings, okay? But what I do want to share with you is the idea behind the names. Okay. So we all know what the name is. So in Hebrew, the name is the shame. Okay. This is Hebrew for name. Okay. When I want to make it more than one name, I'll put an oath on it. That's where you get your word Shemoth. Okay. Meaning names. Okay. So your name is what?
Your character.
Name is your character, and it's the breath of you. It's who you are. Okay. So all these names, every last one of them has to do with someone's character. Okay. And the reason why it's important to understand is because what you're going to find out in these names is something very, very special. Okay. Some of these names, I'm just going to give you a summary. Some of these names, you're going to find the Most High in it. Okay. You're going to find out something like, let me see. Under, what's his name? What's his third son? Yakiel. Whose son is this? That's Issachar. Okay, Zebulun's son. Okay, so Zebulun, he has a son called Yakiel. Yakliel. You see the word that here, El? El means what? Elohim. Okay. His name actually means Elohim waits. That's what his name means. Elohim waits, and Elohim is hopeful. And Elohim and he has expectations, right? He expects, right? This is a trip. And Elohim is patient. Okay. That's what this boy's name means. Okay. And Zebulun means to dwell, but also too, it's not only to dwell, but it means to exalt. That's what his name means, to exalt. That's what the father's name means. Okay. Within the name of Zebulun, he has these sons. And one of his sons is called Yakliel. And Yakliel means Elohim waits. Okay. And Elohim is patient. Elohim is, he's hopeful. So I thought about that and it's like, oh, wow. Okay. So what does this mean? Well, I'm going to give you another one before I tell you what it means. One of the names of Yehuda's sons or his grandsons is called Kamuel. So if we go to his son, Kamuel. This is his grandson. They got it in a, it says Hamul, but it's really Kamuel. Come on, don't do that. This guy right here, okay? His name has to do with pity, love, and what they would call compassion. Okay. So my point is we see all these different names and they all have some significance and some meaning. Do you know if these individuals who we're talking about, these 66 individuals, if they didn't go into the land of Mizraim, then it would be a fact that the Most High did not show any love and he didn't show any pity and compassion. If they didn't make it there, it would also mean that Yahweh would have never, I'm going to circle a name and you tell me this. If this guy didn't go, what does it mean?
We wouldn't have a priesthood.
We wouldn't have a priesthood. And what does his name actually means to what?
Join.
Join, because he's the Wa, right? Lewi, right? So this means if they didn't make it, that means that Yahweh not has joined himself to us. Okay. If he didn't make it, it means that Yah's not looking at his son. If he didn't make it, it means Yah doesn't listen. If he didn't make it, that means that Yah's not going to get any praise. If he didn't make it, it means that Yah is not going to redeem and recompense people for their wages. If he didn't make it, it means Yah is not exalted. You understand? And so within these names, you see the character of Yah. You see what they were looking for. Like in, for example, Reuben, his first son's name is called Kanok right here. That's where you get your idea of Kanuka from, they call the Feast of Dedication. That name right there means dedication. To be dedicated to what? To be dedicated to the Most High, okay? You also have Palu, and Palu's name means to be distinguished, okay? So you're going to go to the distinguishment, okay? I don't know if I'm spelling that right, D-I-S. Let's put it up here. Distinguished, that means to be set apart, away from everyone else. You see? This one right here has to do with a vineyard. That means my wine, which has to do with the land, has to do with the Most High, right? So we're seeing all these different things, okay? And Ketzron means a courtyard, right? This separates. So these are the ideas that surround these names. That was the importance of it. So the Most High, it shared with me, you want to read each one of these names, you want to find out what they mean, so you can get a closer connection, okay, to what things are. Peretz and Zarak means, who breaks forth and who rises, which is the Most High. So that's where all those names mean. Now, to go back to my point about Binyamin, if he was a child, the way that they try to tell us, then why does he have these sons? He has Bela, Becher, Ashbel, Gera, Naaman, Aki, that's how you say Aki, my brother, Rosh, Mupim, Kupim, and Ard. He has 10 sons. 10 sons. So if he's a little boy, what is he doing with 10 sons? Doesn't make sense. He wasn't a little boy. He was young, okay? And they're making reference to him as a Na'ar. He was the youngest. That's what they're trying to tell us, is that he's the youngest of all the brothers, not that he's a baby or a little kid. He's the youngest of all the brothers. But he had 10 children. He had more sons than Yehuda. He had more sons than everybody. Okay, this one who came in second place, who had a lot of sons, was God. God had 7 sons. Okay, we'll go a little bit more later, but he had 10 sons. What do you guys remember about me telling you about the all in the low? What did I say about that?
The low means not absolutely never.
Uh-huh.
All means sometimes.
No, at a
Okay.
certain
now here-
time.
Yeah, exactly. At certain times. Okay. So we're going to look at 45, and I want to show you some things about the all. Okay. So here, if you can see my screen, we're just going to look for words. Okay. So it says that Nwalo, meaning that he wasn't able at this time, he could never stop himself, he restrained himself. So he kicked everybody out. We're talking about Yosef. Okay. But I want to get to the point where he's talking to his brothers to show you when the all is okay. Okay. Verse number 2, and he wept out aloud, and all Egypt heard him, and all the house of Pharaoh. Verse number 3, and he said Yosef to his brothers, I am Yosef, right? And he asked the question, does my father still live? And of course they were wallow right there. They could never respond. They were wallow the yakulu. They weren't able to respond. Okay. The reason why they were not able to respond was because they were terrified. They were so terrified, everyone, right here, that they were not able to literally speak because of the rate of their heart. They were going, like when you're really scared, your heart's beating so fast that you can't talk. That's what they felt right there. So they're terrifying, the terror that they felt, they were not able to speak at that time, okay, in his presence, because that's how afraid they were, right? And I want you to see what he said. And he said, Yosef, to his brothers, come near, okay, which is our Torah portion word called Nagash, but they call it here Gashu, and that's in a command form. I'm commanding you to draw near to me, please, right? Come to me. And so they came near as he commanded, and he said, I am Yosef. I'm your Akikim. I'm your brother. I'm the brother of you, okay? Again, your brother, when we talk about your brother, let me see here, which is your brother's an Ak, okay? Then I say Aki, and then I put the ka right here, Akika. That cough on the end, right, which gives you that ka sound, right? Aki, ka, okay? That ka is a palm of the hand, okay? And the palm of the hand means possession, okay? So when I say Aki, that's my brother, because the yod right here again is a hand, okay? So with hand in hand, but what the hand has is a palm. And anytime you see something in the palm, right, it means that you've taken possession of it, okay? And because it's my brother, I should keep them in my possession, keep them in my hand. If I keep them in my hand, I'm literally guarding them, okay, and I'm protecting them. So that's what that means as well. So that ka on the end means I possess you, you're mine, okay? That's how we got to look at each other, like you're mine. I'm responsible for you, right? So he says, I am Yosef Yorakikim. And he says, who you sold me into Egypt. Now, therefore, he uses this word here. And what does all mean?
All is at a certain time.
Not
Not-
yes, not now. Okay. Now he's not saying, now I want you to get the full context of this. He says, therefore, he's not saying never be angry. Listen what he's saying. Or here you go. That word there for grieved is, don't be pained and don't go into sorrow. And what he was saying is that right now, not now, excuse me, not now should you be in pain and sorrow, and not now should you be angry, okay? Not right now. Now is not the time, okay, for them to be angry. So when I told you earlier that you don't want to be the all person, but not now, I'm talking about when it comes to righteousness, okay? I'm also talking about you can be the all person. There's certain times that you should be the not now person, okay? So in any given situation, you have to use or you have to be responsive. And he's telling them if they were to go into grief and anger and frustration at this in particular moment, it would delay the deliverance, okay? It would delay the deliverance that he wanted to give to their family, okay? So what I'm trying to say is there's a time that we should be able to be the all people. And there's a time where we should be the wallow people, okay? So I wanted to bring that point out that he's telling them right now is not the time, right? He says, for the reason why you sold me here was for the mikya, meaning the preservation of life, okay? So now we understand that the reason why the Most High is the one who has sent, he said, sent me Elohim before you. So Elohim is the one who sent him. And the reason why he sent him there was to preserve life. That's the purpose. That's why I say it's very difficult for us to parallel our lives with the lives of Yosef, or the life of Yosef, because the Most High, in some way, he did send us here to preserve our lives if we choose, okay? Just like they had to make a choice. But in terms of him sending you and I here to preserve the lives of someone else, it's not applicable, okay? Yah is only sending you here so you can find out if you want to preserve your life. And if you choose, I think our last lesson was about the choices that we have. So you have to literally choose to preserve your life, okay? I don't think we went there on Yom Shalishi, but we might go there tonight, where he talks about this is your choice, okay? So this is the reason why the Most High has sent him, is to preserve the life, okay? And he's preserving life. Is he preserving life from a spiritual perspective?
No,
No. So how is he dealing with, is he dealing in the physical, or is he dealing with the spiritual? Which one?
Physical.
Dealing with the physical possess what you would call the nefesh. Okay. And the nefesh is the one's soul. And the soul in the life of a person is their stomach. Okay. So that's what a kai is. A kai is a stomach. That's what it means. Okay. So if you have an empty stomach, right, that means it's very similar to death. How do I know this? Because when you talk about a famine, which is a ra'av, you see this word ra in there is evil, but it also has to do with famine, and famine has to do with food, has to do with death of the stomach. You don't have nothing in there and it's empty, then it's death. You're getting death. Okay. That's what you're getting. So the Most High, so when someone's coming to tell us and talk to us about spiritual matters, and you try to bring out the physical, they don't want the physical. Just like they don't want the physical land. They want spiritual. And where's their spiritual place at? Where do they say it's at? Where are they going?
In heaven.
They're going to heaven, right? Well, we understand that the heavens are not made for us, okay? And I'm going to show you that here in just a moment. The heavens were never designed for us, right? So let me get that for us right quick since I mentioned it. The heavens are not for us, okay? So when someone comes to you and they say, well, they want to go to heaven, you should easily just go ahead and show them what it is, all right? Let me go ahead and get that information for you. So you have that to write down. I want you to write that down, what I'm about to show you. Psalms number, I think it's 115, if I'm not mistaken. Mr. Pan, do you have that? Oh, there it is. Yep. I was correct, 115. Okay, so we're going to go to Psalms 115 right quick. So the next time somebody talks about going to heaven, you should bring them here so you can help them understand, to get them out of goo goo gaga land, okay? 115 says this. Is it verse number 15 or 16? It says this. Well, let's just start right there in 12. Well, look, 11. You who fear Yahweh, trust in Yahweh. He is their help and shield. Yahweh has kept us in mind. He will bless. He will bless the house of Israel. He will bless the house of Aharon. He will bless those who fear Yahweh, great and small alike. May Yahweh increase your numbers physically, both yours and those of your children. Okay. May you be blessed by Yahweh, the maker of heaven and earth. For the heaven belongs to who? Who does the heavens
Yahweh.
belong to? They belong to Yahweh. But the earth he has given to humankind. Okay? Because the dead can't praise Yah. I don't care if they're in a grave. I don't care, how long ago they died. Once you go in your silence, because death for Israel means silence. Okay? So those who sink down into silence, which is death, they can't praise Yah. So you and I, but we who are alive shall bless Yahweh from now on and forever. As long as you and I have breath, hallelujah. As long as you and I have breath in our bodies, Yah is letting us know that's when you should praise me. You should praise me because you're living on the earth. I didn't make the heavens for you. I didn't make that. That belongs to me, to Yahweh. The earth I've given to you. So when you're on the earth, he provides you with food, right? He uses the earth with the linen and the cotton that comes out of the earth for clothing. He uses the materials that you get from the animals or whatnot. You can use that for your tent. So there's your food, your clothing, and your shelter. That's what it's for. But this is what people don't want. They want food, clothing, and shelter. They want more. They want that what belongs in the heavens. They want to see Elohim with their very eyes. Matter of fact, a lot of them say that they have his spirit and he spoke to them. But we see here that he says that ain't the case. Okay. Just like he tells us that I haven't talked to anybody except for you as a family. All right. You're the only people that I know. You're the only people that I have ever given my Torah to. But where's that at? Where is that at, David? Okay. Psalms 147. He says this, verse number 19. Well, I should start a little bit sooner than that because I'm experiencing it. Verse number 13. He strengthens the bars of your gates and he blesses your children within you. He brings peace with your within your borders and he gives you your fill of the finest wheat, which is food. He sends his word out over the earth. His command runs swiftly. Thus he gives snow like wool and scatters hair frost like ashes. He sends crystals of ice like breadcrumbs. Who can withstand such cold? Really, nobody. Then he sends his word and melts them. He makes the winds blow and the water flows. Okay. What does it say? 19. He reveals his words to Yaakov and his rulings to Yisrael. He has not done this for other nations. They do not know his rulings. They don't know his mishpatim. They do not know him. Hallelujah. They do not know him. He has not spoken to nobody else but the children of Israel. Okay. It makes a lot of people angry. It makes them really upset when you tell them that they don't know what they're talking about. So the New Testament alone tells you off the top that he didn't talk to the Grecians and he didn't talk to the Romans. He's only spoken to the children of Israel. Okay. To give, and he's not given the New Testament, but give the rulings. Okay. So here it is. Listen to this word, which Yahweh has spoken against you, people of Israel, against the entire family that I brought up from the land of Mizraim. Of all the families on the earth, only you have I intimately known. That's it. This is why I will punish you for all your crimes. And then he goes on to talk about how can two walk together without sowing, having so agreed, making reference to Exodus chapter number what? Where was a marriage proposal?
20,
Close. Number 19.
19.
Or he ever spoke any words. He told them, I want you to listen to what I say and obey, because the listening is obeying, and I want you to guard what I said. These two things to my words. That's why I can give you 10 words. I can give you 1,000 words. If you don't do these two things right here, you broke the agreement. That's what everything is based upon. So when he says, well, how can two people travel together without having so agreed? You and I, our ancestors said, I do. And we will. Did they say that? Yeah. So he's going to hold us accountable to what it is. Okay. So the answer to his question, can two people walk together without having agreed? Is that a yes or a no?
That's a no.
No,
Absolutely no. Okay. And what kind of no is it? Is it a low or is it a all?
alone.
It's a low. Thank you. Does a lion roar in the forest when it has no prey? Yes or no?
No.
No. That means it's a low. It means never will a lion if he doesn't have it. Does a young lion growl in his lair if it has caught nothing?
Nope.
No, it's a low. It had never happened. That's what he's trying to tell us. Does a bird get caught in a trap on the ground if it hasn't been baited?
No.
So look what he's getting us to say. No, no, no. Does a trap spring from the ground when it hasn't taken nothing?
No.
When a shofar is blown in the city, don't the people tremble?
Yes.
Yes. Can disaster befall a city without Yahweh having done it?
No.
No. Yahweh does nothing. Listen what he says. Yahweh does nothing. Okay? Without revealing his plan to his servants, the prophets. The prophets are the servants of the Most High. Okay? Now we're going to go find out when it says does nothing. We're going to find out if that's a aid or, what's the word? Okay, so let's see what it is. I don't want to guess. I want to really know what it is. I ain't gonna guess. I'm gonna keep my mouth closed. I don't want to be made out to be a fool, right? So, Amos 3. Trumpet of people, okay, see that low right there? It should not be afraid. If there's calamity in the city, has Yahweh low? He hasn't done it. Look at all the lows. Look at all the lows. Okay. Here you go. Let's see. Oh, we got one right here. That's a low, right? And then he goes down from there. Verse number 6. There's another low. Another low in 6. Number 7. We asked the question, Kilo, can he do nothing? Does Yahweh, the master Yahweh, speak a word unless what? He doesn't speak it unless he reveals it. He has to reveal it, Galah, right? He reveals it to the Sodol, to his secret. So Yah has the secrets, but he reveals his secret to his servants, the prophets, the Hanavaim. Okay, why the prophets? Somebody tell me, why the prophets? Why do Yah gives his secrets to the prophets? What's a secret given to the prophet for?
So that he might reveal it.
Thank you. 100% correct what you just said. The reason why there are prophets, 100% correct. The reason why there are prophets, because Yahweh does want to reveal. He wants to reveal what's going on, and he does it through the prophets. Who chose the prophets? Did Yah choose the prophets?
The people chose the prophets.
People chose the prophets. Why did they choose the prophets?
They were afraid to hear from Yah.
Right. So they agreed and they signed up and said, we want to hear from Yah. Okay. That's what we chose. We chose a prophet to hear for Yah to communicate, because he said, I don't want you to communicate with the dead. I don't want you to communicate with the sorcerers. And I want you to communicate with the spiritists and all these people with the spirit stuff. I don't want you to communicate with them. I'm going to communicate with you with a prophet. Okay. And that prophet will be of your own relatives. It'll be someone out of the house of Israel. There will never be a prophet that speaks to you directly to instruct you of anything I said, unless it comes from your family. Okay, meaning out of the tribes of Israel. All right. There's more than prophets than you see in Isaiah, Jeremiah, Amos, Hosea. There's more prophets. They had actually schools of prophets. So Yah has called a lot of prophets. Okay, and they used to be trained in knowing how. And you said, well, is that like a religion? No, they had to understand what they were, when they received this message, how they're supposed to respond and what they're supposed to deliver. So we're a very unique people. Okay, so at this in particular time, Yah says, I'm not going to do anything. Okay, I'm doing nothing unless I reveal it to my servants, the prophets. Okay, and the prophet has to be like Moshe. Okay, and what does it mean by being like Moshe? What, 120 years old, or what? When it says the prophet's going to be like Moshe, be like me, what is he talking about? What is Moshe saying? He's going to be like me. In verse number 15, I think it is, right here. Yahweh will raise up a prophet like me from among yourselves, from your own kinsmen. What do you mean like me? He just tells them how they're going to be like him. Because
He also listened to what Yah said and did it.
yes, they're going to be like me, meaning like they're going to tell you exactly what Yahweh said. They're not only going to be that, but they're going to be your own relatives because he was related to them. Okay. And you are to listen, Shema to him, listen to him. Just as when you were assembled at Korev and you requested, Yahweh, your Elohim, don't let me hear the voice of Yahweh, my Elohim. So any prophecies are talking about the voice of Yahweh. Okay. That's what we're looking for. So he's supposed to say what Yahweh has said. Okay. So whatever prophet it is, they have to say what he says. But not only that, if they use Yahweh's name, they're going to have to be validated. You have to validate what they said because Yah says, I will reveal my secret to the prophets. And this is what he says. How? Because the question for them is, well, how will we know? How will we know that this word is from Yahweh? And this is what he says. He says, the prophet, 21, you may be wondering, how are we to know if a word has been spoken by Yahweh? And that's everyone's question. And the answer to that is, he gives the answer and says, when a prophet speaks in the name of Yohewah, and the prediction does not come true, that is, the word is not fulfilled, then Yahweh did not speak that word. So what he's telling us is that if I said something and that word is not fulfilled, then I didn't speak that word. Well, then the question may be like, well, okay, you're reading prophecies to us. There's a lot of stuff that haven't happened yet, right? So then if it's a few, because a lot of people say, what's a future prophecy? It hadn't happened yet, right? You hear that a lot because I always ask people, the Christians, I said, did this happen? You said that he was this prophet or he's this fulfilling his prophecy. Did it happen? No, it didn't happen yet. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Okay. So our way to approach that is to say, okay, so if it hasn't happened, it hasn't been fulfilled yet, right? Then Yahweh didn't speak that word. So we're waiting on what? We're waiting on fulfillment, right? That's what we're waiting on, okay? Think about this for a second. When Yahweh took us, listen, this is very, very powerful, and I thank Yah for it. When you and I are in exile, did Yahweh send prophets with us? For us in being scattered?
No.
No. So are you and I waiting for something to be fulfilled from anything that the prophet said?
No.
No, you're not. You and I were not given a mandate to wait for a fulfilled prophecy. So you know how people are waiting, saying that Christ fulfilled the prophecies and he's this, and you can see them all through scriptures and so forth and so on. You and I were never waiting for that. We've never waited for that, and we shouldn't have wait for that. In the book, the same book, he tells us this, which I want to bring to our attention in chapter number 30. And I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'll read just this little part here. All right, so the Most High tells us that, you guys are going to return to me, right? And you're going to do everything I'm telling you. You're going to obey what I'm saying, okay? So let's just start in verse number 7. Yahweh, your Elohim, will put all these curses on your enemies and those who hated and persecuted you. But you will return and pay attention. That means Shema to what Yahweh says, okay? And obey all his commandments, which I'm giving you today. This is Moshe talking. Then Yahweh, your Elohim, will give you more than enough in everything you set out to do. Okay, that's when you're back in your land, the fruit of your body, the fruit of your livestock, and the fruit of your land. Okay, will all do well. For Yahweh will once again rejoice to see you do well, just as he has rejoiced in your ancestors. Okay, so he's talking about the time when he brings us back. They give us a warning here in verse number 10. He says, however, all this will happen only if you Shema, if you pay attention. The same words that he says in a marriage proposal, if you would pay attention to what he says and obey his commandments and regulations, which are written in the book of this Torah. And if you shuv to Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart and all your being, okay? He didn't say, and this is very important, he did not say that you and I should believe the prophets. He didn't say that. He didn't tell me and you to believe the prophets. He didn't tell you that. He told us very specifically that I want you, this will only happen if you pay attention. In Hebrew is Shema. Pay attention to what Yahweh Elohim says, so that, you would obey his commandments, his regulations, which are written in the book of this Torah. Very specific, this Torah, which is probably Zay Torah, okay? If you turn to Yahweh with all your heart and all your being, that's how he knows if you're going to do what he says. For this command, which I'm giving you today, is not too hard for you, okay? Not commandments, singular. He's giving you them one command, okay? And the command that he just gave them was this. Pay attention to what Yahweh says. He says this is not beyond your reach. So you don't have to go to, listen, it is not in the sky. So you need to ask who, meaning a man or a prophet or Christ or anybody, to go up to the sky for us. You don't need to ask anybody to do anything for you. Or look, bring it to us. You don't need anybody to bring it down to you. To make us hear it so that we can obey it. So you don't need anybody who's going to be a mediator. You don't need anybody who's going to stand in the gap. You don't need anybody. He's not asking you for nobody. Listen what he says. Likewise, it isn't beyond the sea. So it's not in the heavens. Okay, it's not in the sky. Here is the heavens. I'm surprised they didn't put heaven there, but it's the heavens. You don't need to go anywhere beyond the sea. So there's no missionary, there's no boat trips, there's nothing. Like Paul doing missionary journeys from the island of Crete, and then he goes to Damascus and all these different places, and he's spreading the gospel and all this kind of stuff. Yah says you don't have to do that. So that you ask who will cross over the sea for us and bring it to us. Because Yah knows that you're going to be in the lands of what? Your enemies. So if you're in the land of your enemies, he's saying, don't be waiting for anybody. This who that you're waiting for to cross the sea, to do, to bring it to you so you can hear it, so that you can obey it. So if you're waiting for somebody to give it to you to make you hear it, you're going to be waiting a long time. Okay? Because people use that. Well, no one ever told me, unless JC himself tells me I'm not doing it. He said, you don't need that to obey it. On the contrary, the word is very close to you. What word? The command. The command, if you pay attention, the command I'm giving you today, the command is this. You listen to, right? Because it's what? It's in your mouth. That's where it's at. It's even in your mind. That's where it's at. Because what's in your mind is a thought. Because he says once this starts coming back to you and you start what? Somebody tell me. When you start what?
Remembering.
But guess what? It's even clearer than that. He says right here in this same book, same context, that I want you, when you start, here it is. You pay attention to what he has said, past tense will be exactly, right? Presenting here, you start thinking. And you just start thinking about what's happened to you. And that's what our people are doing. They're starting to think about what's happened to them. So it has to do with the mind. That's why he just said that you don't have to go look for it, because it's in your mouth. Because what's going to come out of your mouth is going to come from what you think. You see? So once you start thinking, you will form the right thoughts, and then those thoughts would translate into words in verse number 14. So it's the word. What's the word? The thing that's going to come out your mouth. The command is in your mouth. Even in your heart, it's in your mind. Therefore, you can do it. Look, I am presenting you today, on one hand, life and good. So I'm going to give you the Kai, right? Because you're going to live with Kai. Kai is food. And good, Tov, that which is functional. I asked it, what will we be with him? And Dr. Uriah said, Tov, it's right here. If you're doing well and Yah says, I'll give you life, and on the other, I want to give you the opportunity to choose death and evil. I'm presenting you with two options, right? In that, I'm ordering you today to love Yahweh your Elohim and follow his ways and obey his mitzvot, his regulations and rulings. Because if you love him, you will do what he says. And that's going to be the wholeheartedness that he's looking for. If you do love him, you will live and increase your what? Like we saw in the Psalms, I'll increase your numbers. And that's not spiritual, that's physical. If you're talking about you're going to have life and good, that's here on the earth, because the heavens is mine and I gave the earth to humanity. Yahweh your Elohim will bless you in the land. That's what you're going to get in the land. Nowhere in the New Testament they talk about the land. They don't talk about taking possession of the land, okay? But if your heart turns away, listen what happens. If your heart turns away, if your mind turns away, if you refuse to do the number one thing that he always tells us is to listen, which is the Shema. If you do not Shema, and what it says, refuse right here to listen, that means that you're low. You're saying, I'm not. Lo Shema, I'm not going to listen to him. Never. And if you're drawn away to prostrate yourself before the other gods of the places that I've sent you and serve them, I'm announcing you today that you will certainly perish. You're going to perish. You understand? So this is a promise, and he's telling them, because they're about to go into the land, that you will not live long in the land that you're going, crossing over the Jordan to enter and possess. Here's the cold part. I call on the heaven and the earth to witness against you. These two witnesses here are what you would say, are they good witnesses? Are they valid witnesses? Are they reliable witnesses? They're all those things. So when they come to court, they're going to witness against you today that I have presented you with life and death, blessing and curse. Therefore, I'm asking you to choose this life, choose life, so that you will live in you and your descendants. Because the bottom line, everyone, this is always has been and will be about life, like we saw in our Torah portion. He said that Yah has sent me here to give you what you would call the mikyah. The mikyah is the preservation of life. Okay, that's what Joseph said. He sent me ahead of you so I can preserve your lives. Okay, a remnant of you. Why? Because Yahweh says, loving Yahweh, your Elohim, and paying attention, Shema, to what he says, and clinging to him like honey to, whatever, or glue. That is the purpose of your life. That's the reason why you and I exist. Our purpose of our life is to pay attention and to cling to him. And on this depends the length of time that you will live in the land that Yahweh, your Elohim, swore to give to your ancestors, Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. So the reason why you and I are not in our land right now is simply because our ancestors chose to die. That's not me making it up. That's the choice. Because he said, if you go against me, you won't be living in the land. I'm going to put you out of the land. But he tells us early in that same chapter that if you were to do what I tell you, and you turn back to Yahweh from the places that he scattered you, then this is what you have to do. You have to Shema. You have to turn back to him, because it's the only way you're going to live. That's it. So our Torah portion has this idea about preservation of life. And we know that preservation of life for us means that we have to go to the one who has life, because that's what a Elohim is, and that's what a judge is. He's the one who settles arguments and quarrels and debates. And it's ordered to restore life. That's what the judge is supposed to do. Someone who's judging, an Adon, a ruler, is supposed to restore life. So we're not going to Yah to argue with him. He's not taking any arguments, everyone. He's literally saying, I'm not going to have you consult me. You're not going to be asking me questions. And I looked at that word consult there, and it's literally talking about darash, meaning you can't seek an answer from me. Not right now. You can't seek. As a ruler, you can't come to me and try to negotiate with me about why you're in your situation. I've already put a judgment down about what it is for you. Now I'm asking you, I'm presenting you with the option of paying attention when you're in the places that you are. And this is your last time. After this, there won't be no more There's no more talking. There's no more trying to get it right. So he's not asking me to debate with him about anything. He's literally telling us, if you don't get it right, that's all right. Go on serving your gods, because I'm going to get rid of the rebels. I'm getting rid of them. So right now is our time. This is your time right now. This is the time that you get to preserve your life. Okay. That's what it is. You can't convince anybody else of anything. If they don't want to listen to what he says, then you could bring them right there and they're not going to listen. He says it right there. You start thinking about it in the lens of your enemies. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that, because it means that they have to humble themselves and they have to do what he told them, because they don't even know what his voice is. They think his voice is in the New Testament. They think his voice is the Spirit. His voice is not the Spirit, or none of those things. Praise be to the living Elohim. Any remarks before I let you go? Any questions? If not, I say Lila Tov and shalom to you. And if Yah was willing, I'll see you on Shabbat.
Lala Toda Rabah.
Toda Rabbah.
Lala Tov.
Halayla Tov.
Lala